Welcome, everybody. This is the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, and we come to you every week trying to share stories about innovation, entrepreneurship, and education as they relate to service and anything else that we think is just fascinating. Our eClub is based in the Silicon Valley of Northern California in the United States, although we have members around the world in places like Japan and Kenya and Canada and South Africa and even other parts of the United States. But we know that we are reaching people everywhere because, gosh, it's just kind of hard to hold down a cool story. Well, in the cool story department, we've got a good one for you today. And our speaker is Stephen Lease. Stephen is the president-elect of the Auburn Daybreak Rotary Club here in California. But he has an interesting background and an interesting effort that we're going to learn about. His background is in the tech sector. We worked with Intel and did a number of work, spent a number of years with them before moving on and working with an energy company, and now is in the financial sector working with people on kind of technical issues. He can speak to that in more detail, of course, but we're here to talk to him about cookies because he decided at some point that giving away a lot of cookies made a lot of sense. And I will go into no further detail on that because we have him here with us to give us the far better detail. So everyone, please welcome Stephen Lease.
Well, thank you very much. So this has definitely become a cookie story. I would definitely say it didn't start that way. When I was younger, my mother would make chocolate chip cookies or some treat, and you would take them to school with you. And so you would share them with your friends, and it happened to be on your birthday. Well, here I am in my working professional career, and my birthday's coming up. And I thought, oh, I had that memory. I'm like, wait a second, I could make something and take it. I don't need my mom to do that. And that'd be a fun way to celebrate my birthday with my friends. So great. First batch of cookies goes on its way to Intel. Of course, everyone pretty much likes a fresh cookie, and they were devoured very quickly. Over time, my wife would say, hey, would you make another batch of cookies? And then I would oblige, and she would eat some. And of course, she would get the quality control, if you will, right out of the oven, nice and hot. And she'd say, I'm going to eat all of these, take the rest to work. So that started a pattern of producing cookies. Over time, though, my wife's a mechanical engineer, and I'm an electrical engineer. Two engineers on a process, guess what's going to happen? Why are they flat? Why are they more round than not? And why are they just so inconsistent? We're putting the same ingredients in, and over time you start to realize that baking really is a science, and I find it to be absolutely fascinating. So, giving you an idea of one of our test days, test cookie batches, if you will, I think we got 6 to 8 different types of butter. And through that process, we basically said the most consistent butter for us happened to be Tillamook, and I've been using Tillamook butter ever since. However, the temperature of the butter, we learned, needs to be about 68 to 72 degrees for the process that we're doing to continue to have the right amount of energy in these cookies when you put them in the oven, so that the oven adds more energy to get them to the right shape. So there's the engineer in us talking and how that came to be. Well, now I have a process, and people start to like these, and I'm like getting to the end of my days at Intel, changing careers, and I go, what am I gonna do? What are you gonna do on your last day? Okay, you got to go in, sign some forms, maybe take some things off your desk, but you don't have a lot to do in an engineering setting on the last day. And I thought, oh, I could make cookies for everybody. So I made 700 cookies that day, or the night before, the day before, I made 700 cookies, toffee chocolate chip cookies, mint chocolate chip cookies, caramel chocolate chip cookies, any flavoring of morsels I could figure. I put those together and took them to work. And that is really where this started. It was amazing. I could walk by and see everybody I worked with, and just if they were busy, they could get a cookie if they wanted one. But it was nice to say hi and goodbye. If someone wanted to strike up a conversation with you, talk about what's going on, it was wonderful. And that in itself is the essence of why I've continued to give away cookies, because it's a little bit of my time, a little bit of my money, and it's that genuine way of meeting somebody. And They will let you know if they want to talk about the story or if you just want to say thank you and please enjoy. So jump forward a little bit ahead in time. Joined Rotary, and we have an annual Rotary barbecue here. They get 1,000 cookies for their barbecue. I do that every year, and also do it on Veterans Day. So I'm out in the community. If anyone needs cookies, I just tell them, give me a call, send me an email. If it works out for my schedule, because they are free, that we'll try to fit it in. And I have been amazed at the response when people do ask, they love them. But at the same time, I've been amazed at how hard it actually is to get your awareness out there that you have cookies, that you're willing to give them away for free, make them, drop them off. Um, so it's really given me a marketing awareness on what it really takes to market something, even if it's free. Been a really good learning experience there. I've been recognized in our county here, in Placer County. One of the board of supervisors heard what I was doing, and they've actually given me the honor of the Placer County Heroes Award. So lots of things have come from this. I've been amazed at the number of people that I've met, but it all goes back to that genuine, here's a little bit of my time, a little bit of my money, something that I've put together for you to enjoy. And so I would add that I'm now going to be working on a little bit of rebranding. So when this first started, Stephen Lease's Cookies was my Facebook page. And now I'm trying to inspire others to make cookies and give them away. And I'm calling it 1,000,000 Morsels. And the reason I'm calling it 1,000,000 Morsels is because I plan on personally making and giving away 100,000 cookies. And right now I've given away 30,000 cookies, which is 300,000 morsels, and I'm well on my way to my goal. So with that, if you have some questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Absolutely, and let's take a look at the Facebook page that you put together to talk about kind of what you're doing and how the shift is going to happen here from Stephen Lease's Cookies to 1,000,000 Morsels as well. So if you want to call that up, that would be great. As you're doing that, one question kind of comes to, I see the convenient math of 10 morsels per cookie, but I'm curious if there was a piece of your engineering background, the science, that essentially said 10 morsels per cookie.
It was definitely not engineered. It just happened to be one day I said to myself, I wonder how many morsels are in each cookie, and I counted it averaged about 10 to 12. So I said, okay, 10 is a safe amount, and let's go with that. And that's how I came up with it.
Nice. So facebook.com/Stephen Lease Cookies, and we'll get that link on our meeting page as well, so people can follow it and take a look. But you're in the process of shifting that to facebook.com/1,000,000 Morsels. Is that right?
Yep. So if someone wants to make cookies and wants to put on that 1,000,000 Morsels page what they're doing in their community, that is where I want to capture it. Whereas the Stephen Lease's chocolate chip cookies is where I really just started my cookie count and have been counting ever since.
Very cool. Now, at some point, you went from, okay, this is a cool idea, to this might inspire others to give. Like in our club, for example, one of the things that we do every week is we prompt our members to answer a survey about service they've been doing, small or large. So, it might be something like, I participated in this huge cleanup campaign, or say, oh, great, or maybe it's, I made some cookies to hand to somebody, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And the idea is not to brag about kind of what you're doing. The idea is to kind of show our members the variety of things people do, to inspire them to kind of see new possibilities with it as well. And, just to get to know each other a little better, right? So as you doing this, is that kind of the vibe you were getting from your fellow Rotarians, where they were kind of asking you more and more about, kind of what prompted you with the cookies?
Yeah, I will say this, early on, I had a saying that, I do this and I have no expectation of anything in return. And because I really didn't want to be recognized. I didn't want to have newspaper articles or things about me. It was just kind of happened. And what I started to realize, even with that first cookie I was giving away, I did actually want something in return and I wanted to help somebody. And that's a very good reason to do something. It's you want to do it because you have that expectation, and you'll continue doing it as long as you get the feedback that you perceive, because it's up to the other person whether they feel it's helpful or not, um, to help them out. So for example, I have run into some people who can't eat chocolate. And so if I offer a chocolate chip cookie, it's not necessarily helping them. They might like the idea and be inspired to do something else, but they can't actually eat the cookie. Whereas most people love it and you get that immediate feedback. So over time, I started to realize that people love stories, and stories inspire people to do amazing things. And when I started to realize that, then I became comfortable sharing my story and doing presentations like this.
That's really cool, and I believe that the story itself got picked up locally, right? I asked you to, I think, call up that particular page from a local paper. Is that what that is?
Yes, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Show us that one.
Yeah, so this was an article that was done several years ago. The local photographer heard about it and happened to be a fellow Eagle Scout. And he basically said, you know what? I want to come over. I want to write a story. I want to take pictures of you making cookies. And this is the article that he put together. And I believe you're going to share that link as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because when we look at the story, right? There's kind of two angles on this that are kind of immediately important to me. One is that making cookies is just something you enjoy, right? And so
Yep.
so so zeroing in on that is not something that you do simply because it's a pastime, but because it has this value for others. I think a lot of people don't clue into the fact that stuff they do on a regular basis, perhaps a daily basis, can be really powerful for other people. And so that, I mean, this is a really good example of that.
Yes, and what I've learned for myself, whether it's reading a book or making cookies, it allows me to escape and just focus on just a little bit of relaxation. I've got the whole cookie process. I've got all the ingredients on my counter. The mixer pops up out from the cupboard down below. You maybe you'll see that. Not sure if you can see. Oh, I'm standing in front of the mixer, and I just do everything right there on the counter. Takes me probably 10 minutes to make a batch of cookies, and then another 13 minutes or so to actually put them in the oven. And a few minutes after they cool, it's time to enjoy. And my family does really enjoy. My 6-year-old and my 3-year-old, they really do enjoy the quality control, quality and reliability that they role that they play.
I am sure that they take a professional interest in making sure that the cookies are
Oh, very, very. The 3-year-old especially. Yes.
All right. Now, one of the things about this, right? This, and you were talking about this a moment ago. This represents a story. People are motivated by stories. One of the things that I talk about when I sometimes visit Rotary clubs to talk about what we're doing with the eClub. People are surprised that the eClub is not, say Martian, but instead it's these real people who talk about the same kinds of things they talk about in their club. And I talk about the importance of stories, right? How does a club tell its stories? How do people tell their stories? And so many places that's just not very well done. Rotary clubs have kind of a poor history of PR, of just saying this is what we're doing in the community. A few people know and they think that's great, but getting that kind of spread widely is kind of hard. So when I think about something like this, I hope that in a sense it motivates your club colleagues to stop and say, there's 10 other great things we're doing. How do we tell that story?
How do we tell the story? And I would actually say, add this a little bit to it. And I've thought about legacy a lot, having gone through Boy Scouts and now being a Girl Scout leader. Legacy is talked about in leadership opportunities, and legacy is that aspect of the generations before us, the generations after us, and in my mind, connecting with them. And the way we do that is through stories. So whether it was me sitting down with my grandfather and him telling me how to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, that's now a story that I can share with my children, and they can continue to do that.
Absolutely. So when you think about sharing the stories with children, right?
Mm-hmm.
that the message would become something that essentially says, what do you like to do? Why don't you do that so that it will help others? It allows young people to understand that they have the ability to do something powerful as well, right? And I
Yes,
like that a
not
lot.
that they have to,
No.
but they can be inspired in a similar fashion or doing something completely on their own.
Right. And when they see the response from people, when you go from being a person who might be a nice person and people respond to you well or whatever, to doing something where people really appreciate it, and that palpable feeling of I've helped somebody out, that takes somebody, to new places, in their sense of who they are, of what they're able to accomplish. I figure that there are
Mhm.
all kinds of people who are in high school, middle school, elementary school, who have the ability to create things and take them to others, and that can become a part of how they see themselves. You talked about being, Boy Scout, for example. I too am an Eagle Scout. I got my got my last requirement the night before I turned 18. That's it. Here's the wire.
You finished. Good job.
Yeah, I finished, right. The last few years was a bit of a slog, but there you go. At any rate, we all have kind of these places, or we need these places in our lives where we are encouraged to show what we can give, not because of anything else more than just to discover that power within ourselves. I think that's something special.
Yeah, it's very special, and we can do it in any area or passion that we have in our lives. Like, for example, now I'm in the financial services. So my daily job is helping people with money. And then to get back to the community, I teach at the local adult school. And my desire there is that people talk about money generationally. They talk about it and how does it work and how do investments and some of those things work and understand those, similar to understanding Rotary and what does Rotary do. And what I find is sometimes people feel like they can't even ask the questions to start a story. And I encourage people to ask questions. Don't ever be scared or taken back by the fact that you don't know something, because you have to learn somehow. And I've learned how to do a baking process through this, and I would call myself a very good baker now because of this. And I never set out to do that.
Well, I'm guessing that if you have gone to the trouble of measuring which butters are most consistent, to create the right cookie, you're developing some skills in the kitchen at that point.
Yes, definitely.
So I'm curious, would you say that now, do I understand your 6 and your 3-year-old, they're both daughters, is that right?
I have, yes, two daughters.
Right. And has, for example, the 6-year-old taken on the idea of creating something herself to give to others?
Nothing that I can put on yes, that's going to be the one. She has a lot of different passions, and I will say right now they definitely love helping me make the cookies, but I think they have a self-interest in doing that.
And that's part of the process, right? I mean, if you are going to figure out that you have something to give, one of the ways to get there is to be part of a giving experience, and maybe that's in a sense part of what it means to come into Rotary. You come into Rotary, and suddenly we're involved in all these different projects, and people say, "Wow, this is just really good what we do and all." And then someone says, there's a you can apply for a Rotary grant for this or that, and people are like, really, what, and then suddenly they figure out, wow, I could actually take the ball and run with it. Wow. And I
Yeah,
think
and things like joining the bequest society. A lot of times when we're young, we don't think about that. It's actually very easy to do and be a part of, with what we have going on. And in my mind, it's a way to continue that legacy and a way to participate. And the expectation is you don't have to leave this earth anytime soon, but you are a part of it. And my mind is, don't wait till feel like you're about to leave this earth to partake in some of those legacy aspects of Rotary.
absolutely, I think about some of the things you're talking about, right? Like being in the bequest society, which is very cool. That's very cool that you do that. One of our one of our 20 somethings, we have a whole host of very cool 20 somethings in our club, right? One of whom is the president elect, Mitty, and
Hmm.
Mitty actually joined the Bequest Society just recently as well. That whole thing of, well, here in my will, there's kind of this, so that this money might go towards programs that help people, near and far. That's really cool. Our membership chair, Shags Shagrin, is another guy who's into helping people kind of learn about money and themselves and that kind of thing, and he has this business where people talk to him and they're really kind of figuring out how they think about this stuff. And I know that he's a Rotarian, so he's trying to help him, get into a sense of, what is it that you give? How do you feel about who you are and what you can do? And I love that, you can capture this in something like the story of cookies.
And really, it comes back to those cookies, because the cookies it's that everyday activity. It's that thing that just consistently is a part of you, whatever it is in your life that you're doing consistently for others and to make the world go around. That is the essence of these cookies. And I encourage people to celebrate and share their stories of what they're doing.
Wonderful. Last thought. There's a combination here between, because we've talked about, kind of hobbies, what you're excited to do at home, and what you can do for others. But this is also integrally tied with what you have done in your work. You talked about like that last day at Intel, I'm bringing in cookies, I'm generating conversations. That's not just nice. I mean, that's the kind of thing that builds morale. It allows a team to get to know each other in new ways. They understand that they can tap into strengths that they might not have known, were right there around them. I mean, I would think that there's a very real business advantage to making sure that people are thinking along these lines as well.
And I would go to the level of saying it's really focusing on the relationships with the individuals who are a part of your life every day or over time.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind this down and kind of give the standard finish for everybody. But then I will leave to Stephen with kind of a last comment that will send everybody kind of into the last part of our meeting. So Stephen, prepare your moment of profundity there. You've already had several, but let's do more. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us. The Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, siliconvalleyrotary.com or rotarymakeup.org will get you to us. And we're here all the time. We don't pick a particular time each week to meet, because we are people who, while we have a heart for service, we also kind of have schedules that make it hard to pick a particular time each week to do something. So we're asynchronous. You can come to us anytime during the week, anytime from Monday morning to Sunday night. Go to our page, go to current meeting, and in doing so, you read and you watch things. And like Stephen was talking about, you're getting in touch with stories. These big stories that are the programs, but we have little stories as well. The inspirational videos that we show, the tidbits that you learn from, the stories about Rotary's work around the world, stuff that our members are doing, our service projects, all kinds of different things that are a part of who we are. And it's our hope that it's not merely a chance to, for example, make up a missed meeting, but a chance to inspire you to see something new that's a part of this organization that we are all drawn to in so many wonderful ways. So join us each week. We love having you. After you have read through everything and watched everything and finished this meeting, there are some links that follow this particular embed. And you're welcome to go find out more about our programs and our speakers via those links. A little farther down, there is an I attended survey. So the attendance survey is important. This doesn't put you on any kind of spam list or anything like that. We just want to be able to send a note that says, thanks for coming. So please fill that out. And if you are a visiting Rotarian looking to make up a miss, then it's important to do that and to do your email address properly so that it generates an email that you can then forward along to your club secretary, which allows you to cover the makeup. It's our belief that every single Rotarian can be a 100% attender, not because the number 100% by itself is some big thing. It's more that if we have the chance each and every week to get the kind of positive energy that comes from just knowing you're a part of 1.2 million people around the world making the world a better place, all the better. Finally, at the very end of the page, you'll see the discuss section, DISQUS. And there you can leave a comment. And we really want you to leave comments. We want you to tell us what you think of the meeting, what you think of the program. Give us some critique. We believe that we're doing a pretty good job, but that we can do a better job. And that's our goal, is to constantly improve. That whole thing about innovation, entrepreneurship, and education comes down to we can get better, we can get better, we can get better. And we'd love your help in that regard. So with that, I will finish up. I will watch for your attendance, kind of return from our little forum there and for your comments. And let's end with a message from our speaker. Stephen, thank you again for your time.
Well, I would like to offer everyone a cookie who makes it through Auburn, California. So if you happen to be coming by in some fashion or form, please reach out to me and we'll just try to make it happen that you can have a cookie.
Awesome. Thanks again. And everybody, we will see you next week.